That's a super great Shrek emote. I'm glad that you have that, Tracy. Hello, everybody. Does this work? Can you guys hear me? No one's saying anything. I don't think anyone can hear me right now. Oh, Tracy can hear us. Okay, good. Well, get ready. Soon you'll be able to see me. Where should I stand? Right here? Ta-da! Oh, look, I can see myself there too. Yeah, everything looks okay. I cannot read. That's terrible.
Too small? Here.
No, it's okay. I can. Oh yeah, I guess if we resized OBS, I guess actually yeah, we're never gonna change scenes, so why matter? All right, guys. When I need to read the chat, this is what you get to see. Oh whoa. Now it's just not centered, but that's probably okay. Hello, everyone. These glasses are actually like 6 or 7 years old. I'm going to go to the optometrist next month and get new ones. Oh, that's awesome. That's perfect. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, gosh, y'all are roasting me right off the bat. I mean, actually, I appreciate it, but yes, I did. I actually got a haircut a few hours ago. It's great. Hello, everyone. We've got this set up in my living room, which is kind of funny. We have streamed here a few times. I know that we worked on X-Files once in this living room, and then I think I streamed X-Files by myself once here, and then Josh, who is the camera operator today, we also streamed TNA once, which was pretty fun in this living room.
With Crystal and Joe.
Yep, Crystal and Joe were also here. Hello. Hello. How many fingers am I holding up? I don't know. I can't see you. Welcome. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you guys can hear because I was anxious about the audio quality in this room, and always having audio issues is not, no, it's just kind of on par for the live stream. So, you know. Hey, thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome. The Wisp is actually here. Amazing. Yeah, okay. Well, good. What have you guys been up to? Anything exciting? Probably playing pinball. Maybe looking at your Insider Connected year in review. Some pretty fun stats to look at. I thought that was fun. I'm a data nerd. I like seeing like arbitrary numbers connected to things that I have done. I don't know why. It's kind of enjoyable. Has anyone looked at that? I have mine. I think it's funny, like from a bunch of people that have shown it on the internet also, they have the same thing going on where like you tend to score the most on ball 3. Is that like everyone's thing? If you guys haven't, I don't know if this will show in the camera too well. Yeah, I guess I have to focus it. Is this one focus? This one's focus.
Yeah, let's see if we can.
So when you have you go to your profile, you can click in the year in review, and then it shows you like a bunch of fun stats. I played the most on Thursdays. I played mostly in April. How many games you've played? People talking to me on Discord. You know, it's just kind of fun. But this, 86% of my score generally coming on ball 3. I mean, I knew I was pretty bad at pinball, but I don't know. There's just some fun stuff in here. It's neat to see. And then they did another thing too with achievements, I think. So like if you were to choose a game, right? Oops, let's see. It'll show you, I think, how do you do this? I think, hold on, I'm gonna look at this. There's a way that, there is something that it will show you like, view all achievements, I think. Yeah, so then you can come here and it will tell you like how many % of players have achieved certain things. I'm one of 10.555% of people that have achieved the MXV skill shot on Deadpool. It's just fun little stuff. I don't know, it's pretty neat. So I don't know, maybe you guys have done it too and enjoyed your stats. DeWisp, thank you for your subscription. You're amazing. Dent says, I tend to score most when I am just playing for fun and... Oh, it's cutting off on the chat. Maybe we need to zoom out just a little bit. I'm sure it's something... Oh, and not in a tournament. Yeah. When I play in tournaments or when I play in league, the time, like when I choose the game I want to choose for my pick and then I practice, I always score the most in practice and then I just totally have a house game everywhere else. That's true. I think you could probably figure that most games have the highest score on ball 3 because you are progressively setting things up, right? C&K, tech question right off the bat. How did you say you remembered linear flipper crank? I don't remember the linear flipper ones 100%, but if you look at the Williams ones or the Stern ones, if you flip them, see the crank has that like L-shaped kink in it, like that. If you put that away from you, so the end of that dog leg is facing away from your eyes. If it's on the right side, it's a right side flipper. If it's on the left, it's a left-hand flipper crank. The linear flippers are probably similar. We could open up my Xenon and find out, but my cat's playing it right now, so we can't do that. Mr. J. Crane. You know what I need to do is I need to not be like Jack Danger and just read the question without reading it first. Sometimes it's easier for me just to respond and not read the whole question. Yeah, so J. Crane, when you want, I'm sorry, Mr. J. Crane, you need to have, your establishment needs to have Insider connected, hooked up, set up. You need to have a profile, get your QR code out, scan it on the game, and then that will track that game on the Insider connected platform. So yes, you need to have it on your end, and then the establishment or you need to have your game hooked up, registered to an account, and online. This game just came out of the arcade, and it's still registered as a game at Transmission Arcade. But in your house, it would be registered as like Mr. J. Crane's Game Room or something like that. So, yeah. Tell your operator or your location to set it up. Hey, Pinball Rob, how's it going? What were Mr. and Mrs. Yeti thinking when they named their kid Zombie? I don't know. I don't know. You should ask him. He'll probably have a great snarky answer for it. Roller Pinball. The MXV skill shot is hard on every game that has one. It's amazing. Mr. J. Actually, you know what? I'm upset Emoto didn't include a friend of the show, Tanyo, being the man who designed the rules on our little art card here. Oh well, it's okay. Hi, Tanya. You're not watching, but maybe. All right, tech question. Oh man, you guys have questions right off the bat. Usually we save those for the end. Eternal Grimmy says, System 6, known good soundboard. What may cause intermittent sound dropouts and how to diagnose? Well, known good soundboard. So I guess, oh yeah, sorry, I can't just look at the screen. Two things I would say. Volume pot. Make sure your volume pot is good. The volume pots, when they get dirty, certain positions will, sometimes you can do the trick, you go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and it'll scrape all the crap away, and then you will have a game that now makes sound. Certain parts of the pot can be like dead zones, or when the pot gets really bad, no matter how much wiping and scraping and turning up and down you do, it won't work. So you could suspect that. Replacing the capacitors on the soundboard generally will improve sound quality, but I believe on the System 6 soundboards, that might be the era where they rectify their own power. I think so. I think one of those capacitors is a filter capacitor. You could have, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the thing is you need to do some, you do need to do some like preliminaries. Like known good is fine, but I would ensure that the bass lines are good, right? New electrolytic capacitors on that board. Then maybe suspect the volume pot. When you turn the volume pot up and down while it's in sound test, does the volume like spike up and down, or do you get dead spots? Those are things to look at too. It's a lot. There could be a lot of things there. So. I don't know. I'm not sure if it would be a PIA. I kind of don't remember how the System 6 soundboards work. I still think that they use like the old like solenoid select system, where like it kind of like a solenoid pulse to the sound card will pull up a certain bit of sound, or not like a pulse, but like a call for a solenoid, kind of like a holdover from the chime days. But yeah, you know. Pistachio is totally wanting to play pinball, isn't he? One of my cats is sitting over there, and he's looking out the window, but I think he really wants to play Xenon. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, see what you can do. I would definitely try the pot would be simple, but replace the capacitors too. That's just a necessary thing. You got to do that on all soundboards. It just makes things sound better. But yeah, today, the idea for this show would be to look over my Deadpool here. This Deadpool, I bought it in 2020. It is a 2020 build. I bought it brand new. I played it at home for a few days, and then I brought it to the arcade. I brought it to my local arcade here, and it lived in the arcade getting played a lot until it got taken out. This game had a lot of love and people jamming on it and beers spilt all over it, etc. for 2 years. And I thought it would be fun to like go over what a game that's been on location looks like, especially a game that has been well maintained. And we can see, just get in and see what is worn out, what has degraded, if anything. We can take a look and actually see like the statistics of the game, right? Like we can look through the audits. Josh and I were, when we brought it over and we set it up, when he brought it back to me, we went in and like were very surprised at the audits. I don't pay attention to that stuff, right? I open the game, I pick up my money, and I'm happy, and I go home. I don't look at the audits and stuff like that so much because Josh takes care of all that, right? I don't care. The money in my pocket's all that matters to me, and the game still works and it looks good. So there were some surprising statistics, and I think I haven't done anything to the game. This might be a good time to start doing some close-ups. Let me look at the chat. I want to respond to what some people might be saying. Let's see. Audits first. No, we're not going to do audits first. We are going to. Do you want to use this camera?
We could.
Do you? I mean,
I can hold it if you want.
Do you think that thing would? Is it too clunky? We'd probably get a better picture quality,
No,
but.
we can do this. That sounds great.
What we were going to do, I think, is in just a second. We're going to just come in and look. Like, right, the underside is one thing. We'll take a look at the underside of the game eventually, but like, let's look at the cosmetics. There's one thing. There's a lot of new people getting into pinball in the last few years, and a lot of these people really seem to be extremely held up on the cosmetics of a game. And of course, right, we definitely want nice games. We don't want games, some people might not want games that are really roached. In certain games, there's bits of cosmetic defects or cosmetic wear that are totally acceptable. In things like when we worked on my Strikes and Spares, that game has a ton of ball swirl. But it doesn't affect the game. The artwork's still there. It's a little worn out, but it's acceptable for its age, right? And that is totally fair. I think there's something funny, and we will look at this in a little bit, but a lot of newer people into pinball are really held up on something that I find extraordinarily arbitrary and silly, which is the total number of plays. That makes zero difference, in my opinion, on the desirability of a game. You can have two games, one of them has 100,000 plays, the other one is brand new, and it's all about condition, right? If you could step up next to these two games and one of them was really nice, well kept, they were both very clean, and you didn't know the difference, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It's not like a car. We'll talk about this later. I think before I go too far into my rant, let's actually take a look at the game, and then maybe we can kind of guess and think like, well, how many plays do you think this has, or something like that. So Josh is gonna move the camera forward in a second, actually. Let me see here really quick. see what's going on. Pinmaster, hello. Audits, everyone loves audits. Everyone's sitting here talking about audits. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see. We'll look at the audits and we'll look at all that stuff. But first, like, Josh is going to bring the camera in and take a look. Any malfunction's been reported. No, the game works totally fine. We had a few problems with the game here and there, but everything wears out, right? So the things I can remember doing is, like, let's focus on this port here. This is a well-known thing when these games were manufactured, is Stern was not, or still does not in some cases, install washers or anything underneath the ball guide rails here. And you can see that after a little while there was a bit of playfield damage. This ball guide did dig a little bit into the playfield, and that has taken away a little bit of the art. While unfortunate, it's fine. I did disassemble the game and put some washers underneath this, so then when they tightened down, the ball guide wasn't really digging into the playfield. The only other things I remember doing on this game, aside from the flipper rebuilds and stuff like that, I had to put new rubbers, new post rubbers on every location. The original silicone-esque, whatever Stern is using, rubbers started to split after a certain amount of time. That's very normal. New flipper rubbers, new slingshot rubbers, and that's about it. I don't think I replaced any other rubber on this game. Now, when we look at these new games compared to an old game, this game doesn't have a lot of rubber. We've got post rubbers, we've got rubbers that deflect metal-on-metal contact on the entrance of ramps and such. We have flipper rubbers, of course. There's not a lot of rubber on these new games. If we compare it to something like Mars Trek, right? If you pan over here, I mean, right? Rubber rings, you've got 1 inches, 1.5 inches, 3 inches, 2.5 inches. There's rubbers all over the place. Broken rubbers, stuck balls keep games from working. Stern and most modern pinball manufacturers, even in the 90s, Williams really lowered the amount of rubbers being used on pinball to save on like frivolous service calls and such. But if we take a look, you
want to show the shooter lane?
No, we're not talking about shooter lanes. We will. I'll get in here and we'll look up a little bit close, but we will not talk about shooter lanes. It's ridiculous, but we will take a look at what it looks like. And then I'll come check the chat in a second. So yeah, center view, and then I think if you just turn off, that one, is that cam? Oh yeah, so yeah, turn on that one and then turn off that one. Yay, okay. No, don't worry about it. Let's look at things as we move along through the game. We've got decals that are dirty. Okay, so you can wipe those off, that's okay. Let's see, oh, here's some serious damage. We've got a spinner with a little bit of a peeled up decal in the corner. Actually, you know what? The only other thing I remember is little Deadpool did become decapitated and lost one of his arms. So.
Both have glue there.
Yeah, well, I think only one was broken, but then my coworker Serene had a hot glue gun out. So Serene hot glue gunned his arms, and I think his entire head is now full of hot glue. And little Deadpool should be okay for some time. Very happy. We can see some signs of, heavy play. Not heavy play, because again, it's not that much, but we've got, the marks from a ball going up our metal ramps. Both ramps here. The Wolverine spinner has taken some serious hits here down at the bottom. That happens when you have a heavy steel ball being flung at high speed towards a target which moves. This game is very fast, and when the spinner is spinning and the ball comes and hits it in this sort of an orientation, it will damage the spinner. Thankfully, they're replaceable, but this doesn't affect the game whatsoever. The game is still extremely playable with that bit of a mar on the spinner there. And that's really it. One thing we have is Josh was very good at keeping the games clean. He would go in there, wipe the dirt off at least once a week, maybe lay a little bit of wax down every once in a while. So we see signs of wear, or not wear, again, sorry. We see signs of the game being used at the top here. It's a little ball trail. It's a little dirty. But if we look at the rest of the game, I mean, it's gorgeous. We don't have...
playfield wear near the pop bumpers?
No playfield wear near the pop bumpers at all. Stern does put down Mylar quarter rings around. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Deadpool actually has a mini playfield Mylar, or upper playfield Mylar. So we have one that runs through here to keep it nice and safe and protected. There's nothing else wrong with this game. Let's look and talk about something that people love to talk about, which is another thing that is kind of ridiculous, is playfield dimpling. This playfield does not have any dimples in it because it has been played a lot. And all of those dimples have started to meld into each other. That is what every single one of your 90s Williams games that you compare these new Stern games to has happened to them. When games are played, and they are played a lot, the heavy steel ball will definitely make little imprints on the playfield. But as the game is played more and more and more, they do tend to even out. This still looks glass smooth. The game could definitely use a buffing, and I will do that now that it's home. I will, get in there with some Novus, and we'll really polish it up nicely. But it's, again, it's not. There's a little bit of schmuck right there, but that's just dirt from a ball. Yeah. So what I challenge everyone, actually not challenge, but I ask, I'm going to go back and take a look at the chat now. I don't know if you want to switch back to the main camera, the Sony cam. Actually, wait, go back to the other camera. Here, breaking the fourth wall a little bit. There's one of my cats. That's Pistachio. I'll try to grab him and make him be the star of the show. What's up, Peanut? He's a little weirdo. He's playing Xenon. Anyways, let's see what the chat is. What I ask is, looking at this game, how many plays do you think this has, right? How many balls have been played? How many games have been played? Throw out some arbitrary numbers, and we'll go in and take a look at the actual data. What's up, Emoto? Scoop. The scoop is fine. Let's examine the scoop in just a second here. Goodney Fielding, first time chatter. Hey, thanks for joining. 2,500. Fliptronics says 9,000. Wildman just bought a Xenon. Good fella. Colin Baxter says 10,000. Bass Tone says 3K. Tracy says 27,000. I guess we could kind of do this like Price is Right.
$1 pop.
Oh, yeah, I see what you typed out there. Yeah, let's mention that also. Maybe when we go back underneath. Black Cat Pinball 1. Oh yeah, that's my Twitch friend here. 15K. You guys are all over the place. No, that's good. These are good numbers because
27,001.
we'll definitely take a look-see in there. Let's talk about the scoop really quick too. Would you mind throwing the handheld camera back on, Josh? So Stern, for the last couple years has, I guess a lot of years now, has been installing like scoop protectors, which is good. It protects the edges of the wood from the ball, dripping its way in and out, in and out. There is a plus side and a downside to using protectors. Protectors are not a smooth transition. Protectors scratch balls. Protectors scratch and damage balls, with the plus side being that your playfield is saved. And that is a good thing, right? Balls are expendable, balls are cheap. Playfields are not cheap, expensive, and they're really difficult to replace.
Yeah, let alone like the cost of, or like the time labor it takes to do a swap.
Yeah, dozens of hours. There is a teeny bit of damage right here next to the scoop that is outside of the actual scoop protector here. And that is, again, that's normal, especially for the amount of games that has been played on this pinball machine. I'm going to go into my whole tirade sometime soon, so just wait. Oh, you know what? Is this a broken plastic? All right.
Yeah.
There's a broken plastic here, too, that I don't know where the rest is. Oh, you know what? This is supposed to go down over the scoop like that. Ah, okay. So we are missing a chunk of plastic here. Again, this is very normal wear. Stainless steel balls do a lot of damage to things that are not stainless steel. So as the ball maybe hit the snick target, bounced up against this rubber ring and lifted up, it snaps plastics. That happens on every game for as long as pinball has had powerful flippers. And that is fine. That doesn't ruin the game. But yeah, let's see what people are saying. And then we will maybe jump into the audits here really quick. Also, I need to wet my whistle. Here's my drink. Going back to the scoop, one thing that is kind of not a design flaw, but it just happens to be how this game responds to getting played a lot, is the switch, the micro switch in the scoop does fail a lot. The ball rides into that scoop really strong, it slams on that actuator, and it breaks the wires off the scoop. The first time it happened, Josh was like, I just did this and it broke again. I was like, well, you must not be soldering it on right. Let me come and show you how to solder. And I did it and it broke again. And it's just, yeah, it is just a kind of it's a very high impact area of the pinball machine. So I think we probably had replaced that scoop switch at least 5 times.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Maybe 5 times, maybe 5 to 6, 7 times in the period of it being in the arcade for as long as it has. But yeah, what's the chat saying? Let's check out the chat and then we will get the audits. All of you guys remember your guesses. Jimmy says all of them, yes. Oh, Black Cat Pinball, you are Black Cat Pinball in Sweden, yes? Oh my goodness. Okay, so when we started this channel, we started streaming. Emoto wanted to try test streaming on like Facebook and Twitch and stuff like that. So I have a company here called, and I've got 3 Black Cats, and I just called it Black Cat Pinball. So I made my Facebook business account Black Cat Pinball. It says, you know, pinball repair in the Columbia, South Carolina region. I don't use it. It is just something I made and sat there. For years, I was getting messages from people in Swedish asking me, when am I open? How can they arrange a visit? This and that and this and that. And I had your contact information down so I could send them to the actual Black Cat Pinball Arcade in Sweden, and I apologized for wasting their time. So I'm sorry if I've caused you any distress. But yes, anyways, good choice for a name for an arcade. And I hope that one day I can come visit. What part of Sweden are you in? You're in northern Sweden, right? Or the middle of Sweden? I remember looking you up one time.
I would say probably in regards to like flipper rebuilds and whatnot. Like, I don't know, maybe, I mean, it's hard to, I mean, just as needed, but like.
You think 3 or 4 or 5 times? 3 or 4 times over the couple years?
I would say 5.
Okay.
5 seems safe.
Okay.
4, maybe 4.
Maybe 4. So yeah, a couple flipper rebuilds here and there. Oh, southern Sweden? Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, no matter what, I'm going to come visit sometime. I really want to come to Sweden. I have friends in Gothenburg, and I'd really like to come visit them. Yeah, the Black Cat in DC, super cool club, part owned by Dave Grohl. They have, I know they have last time I was there like 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, they had a Centaur, which made me happy. So 1 hour drive from Gothenburg, perfect. I'm gonna come visit. I'm glad you're here.
You know, here, I'll get this set up on the
Yeah, let's set up to look at the audits. Let's take a look now that I've sat and spieled about what I consider the lack of wear on the game. We can jump in and take a look-see at some audits. So the audits menu, do we have glare from the softbox? Oh no, looks good. I can't see because of the softbox, but I'll just sit under the camera. Let's talk about some other cosmetic stuff really quick too, just while Josh is getting the camera set up. The game was extremely dirty on the outside. No matter how many cup holders and signs you say not putting drinks on your pinball games, people will put drinks on their pinball games, and you will get beer. There was a lot of sticky, nasty beer under the lockdown bar that was kind of stuck up on the beer seal. That's normal. That's what it's supposed to do. Unfortunate, but it's okay. The coin door was a little sticky, again, with beer substances, etc. The side of the game had beer on it as well, all easily cleaned up. One thing that I will recommend, and I'll show, but I did actually put down, before I brought it to the arcade, some Mylar flipper protectors. Not protectors, but like, it's like a Mylar moon that goes around the flipper buttons to keep people's, to try to avoid cabinet wear. Josh is handing me a camera so we can kind of just take a quick look-see. These are very cheap, and I'm not, again, wear doesn't bother me, but I can do little things to protect my investment in a pinball game. But these little Mylar half moons, they just stick on. I put a little wax down, I put them on, so when I want to take them off, it'll be quite easy. But that just prevents, the wear that you generally see around flipper buttons. That starts to appear after some time. So, thanks, Josh. Let me check the chat one more time. Yeah, let's do that. Which flipper do you think more was used? That's funny. I mean, look, I put my beer on my games when I'm playing pinball too, because I know I won't spill them. And if I do spill them, the only person I can yell at is myself, right? So it's, just do what you want with your games, but respect other people's requests with theirs. So we can go in here into the audits. We know the diagnostics menu. That's how we test things on the game. We know the adjustment menu. That's how we change things on our games. The audits menu is how we can look at things that the game tracks for us. So let's start with the earnings audits, because I believe the earnings audits are where we will find the amounts of games that have been played and other statistics. For your information, Transmission Arcade is run on tokens. The pinball games were 2 tokens to play, so this game essentially was a 50-cent game. So when you see some of those numbers, remember that each game was 50 cents. So let's go into the earnings. Total paid credits, 18,847. It's a lot of games, right? Now let's take this into consideration, right? I'm always telling people on this show, I feel like it is my duty to try and remind people that pinball games are commercial pieces of equipment that are designed to make money and do things, right? To make people smile. I forgot what I was going to say. If I remember now, in your house, if this Deadpool stayed in my house, it would have far less games on this. In your home, a pinball game is a time machine. It will stay and preserve its condition for a very long time. Now consider this. Under good stewardship, at a relatively busy arcade, being played 9,000 times a year for 2 years, this thing still looks almost brand new. So who's closest? Can someone remember? What's up, Johnny Mnemonic? Thanks for joining us, dude. Who is the closest? Thank you for doing math, Neil. We appreciate you. Deadpool's been out for a long time.
And this is a rerun.
Yeah, this is a 27. This is a 2020 build. This was like the last, one of the last. Well, no, I guess they've made Deadpool a few more times, but this was a 2020 build. So, hello, Digerati. Hello. So we can skip past some of this. The free games. This one's a little concerning. You know what? Actually, no, I'm sorry. This one's actually quite good. For the longest time, the pinball industry has said, like, they want the average game of pinball to last about 3 minutes. So lowest common denominator, right? If you have your grandmother come up to play pinball, the game would hopefully last for around 3 minutes long. This is about on par. We have a very small pinball community here in...
It is worth noting that there are no outlaying rubbers. We did remove the outlaying rubbers.
Oh, I know. I don't think we did. I think that comes like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
A lot of games do come without outlaying rubbers now. But that being said, 43 seconds is about on par. Colombia has a pretty small pinball scene. So, when I would look at these audits in places like San Francisco that have big pinball scenes, this number would be a lot higher. The average player that would come into some of these locations like Free Gold Watch and stuff would have much higher averages. So you had a lot of first timers or people that are just coming to enjoy the food and other games at the arcade, not necessarily everyone being a pinball person. Average game time, 2 minutes 30 seconds, a little low. If it wasn't for the fact that there are a small amount of competitive players, I probably would have automatically adjusted the ball save to be a little higher. So we would keep a 3-minute game, but whatever, that's for another episode. I'll stop talking about operating games. This is always funny to me. There are some points where just like unclogging coins was annoying and you have unlucky coin slots, but I always like to see, and this is always it, people always use the right coin slot. I think that's really funny. Like more than double going through the right. And no one used the center slot because it doesn't exist. 37,000 coins has gone through. The way that the game was set up, it has earned about that much money, which is a decent amount for 2 years. When you think about it, though, that's not a good return on investment in the sense that it was not a very quick return on investment. And that's why I always want to remind people that operating pinball games is definitely a labor of love. Back in the day when you listen to some of these old operators, you'd have games that would pay themselves off in months. This is good money. I'm not complaining, but that is maybe a year and a half to repay itself. Maybe that's not so bad. If your wallet, if your bank account is okay with things like that, and not being able to purchase a new game over and over and over again, perhaps, or using your current games to pay for your other games. Now, again, small pinball scene in a busy bar, but this wasn't the only game in the bar. How many pins are in there generally? 10?
Always 9.
There's always 9 pinball games. So there's other games to choose from. A wide variety of games. This was never the newest game in the bar. So either way, this is good. But if we were to look at like a really hot spot or like a big pinball location, you'd be surprised actually how much these things can make. Now, that being said, if this was $1 a play, that would be 2 times as much. That in theory, right? If we had constants, and people would play the game exactly the same for the same amount of money, that would be insanely good return on investment. I'm not complaining. I'm just talking. It's considering that this, at this point in time, if you were to buy a Deadpool in 2023, it would not cost much less than this to buy a brand new one, right? So just keep those things in mind. Remember, we do this for love. We don't do this for, no one's going to get rich doing pinball. But anyways. Now we can get to some of the interesting stuff.
Oh, I think if you go back to, to the urn, there's, never mind. I guess it's under SPI, the total plays and stuff.
Yeah, so this is all just about keeping track of games, how much money's come in, etc. When we look at the standard audits, this is where stuff is really cool. Sorry, let me check the chat here. Here's the thing though too, right? Hold on. So if you have a really hot game, it pulls more than the dead weight of the not so hot game. So absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so again, it's like, generally I find the most value will come from the deal, right? 3 for 2s and stuff like that. But because of the way that the games were priced at the arcade, we just kept it straight. Josh had 25 cents for video games, 50 cents for pinball games, just to keep it really accessible for everyone to come in and play. And that's totally fine with me. But you generally will see more people doing the 3 for 2s when those are available because the value is there.
There's 3, when this was in the arcade, there were 4 Deadpools on location. One at Granby, one at Bangback, one at Firefly. And Firefly and Granby were super value, and us and Granby were
50 cent.
50 cents.
Yeah.
I wish we could look at everyone's.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see, again though, this is not, judging the health of an arcade or something like that. This is just showing what it's like to own a operated pinball game, but also to reflect on the condition as we continue going through, right?
Yeah, for sure.
70,000, almost 70,500 balls have been played since this game has come out of the box. There's a lot of pinball flying around.
Yeah, no wonder that plastic got broke.
Yeah, right? 2,500 extra balls have been awarded, almost 26. 11% extra ball, interesting. This is where it's a little interesting too. The amount of replays are quite low. This can generally be told just by the skill of the average player. But when you consider, let's just say this game had 20,000 plays on it, I mean, that is almost every 1 in 20 games would get a replay, right? Or 1 in every, 10%. 10% of 20,000 is 200.
200, I guess?
Yeah.
No, 2,000?
2,000.
Yeah,
2,000, I'm sorry. This is
like
you,
5%.
You never do math live on the stream. Anyways,
5%
so pretty low. Remember games auto percentage. So games will, if you have only a bunch of or unskilled players come in, the replay will lower itself to a predetermined spot where it's a little easier to achieve a replay. Where now if you went to a very high skill location, generally the replays are unattainable because the player base is so good, the automatic replay percentage sits so high. So total replays, 886, 3%.
3%, there you go.
3%. 34 specials. Actually, I don't even know how a special is awarded in this game.
You get the special.
I wonder if it's just a random award. It might be a random award. 2,046 matches, and that's about on point.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's not a match percent, but that's something you can actually set. It will auto percentage how often it will give out a match to encourage play. So, 2,900 free plays. So a total overall lifetime of 22,731 plays. So I think Tracy might actually have been the closest if she's still here.
Yeah, she was.
22,000 games. You guys have guessed relatively low, just judging on the condition, and I think that kind of proves my point, that a well-maintained game is difficult to judge, right? If someone told me this game, again, I don't care though, plays don't matter. When I come up to this and I say, this is quite a nice Deadpool, it's got a broken plastic and little Deadpool broke, that's normal. Okay, this is a nice game. Condition is everything. And who knows, maybe that plastic broke after game 500 and I've just never actually dove into the damn thing to see that it was broken. I don't know how that starts. Is that for when you put it in League?
On some of, yeah, because for League, sometimes I remember to put them on free play, but usually we just pump tokens in. And so in the few times I do remember to put it on free play, I would have put it on
competition mode.
Sometimes,
So competition mode.
Private parties and blah blah blah.
Yeah. So competition mode, I think, just equalizes rewards. So like the mystery hole will give the same thing to everybody, like in the same order as the mystery is awarded. So. No DJ mixer uses. Well, it wasn't at home, but now that will be done because the soundtrack is amazing. Total plays ended. I don't know what that means.
Hold the left flipper and start.
Oh, just to restart? Wow, only 10 people. That actually might have been me 10 times when I unboxed the thing because I'm a weenie. But then you get to see this, which is kind of interesting too. This will also help you judge the skill of players at a location. But seeing the score, the spread out, right? What's the highest? So that's the highest so far. Most players were able to score around 10 million points, it looks like, on Deadpool. And we're going to start petering off, and then the people that are absolute show-offs are going to start, showing up, Oh, wow. That's interesting, actually. It jumps back up again.
There must be like an average, like two skill sets, kind of.
Definitely.
Average player or enthusiast.
It starts to jump up again. But you start to see it just kind of starts to peter off a little bit. But there you go. 557, 150 million plus point scores. Average score of 21 million points. 375 service credits. So that's the difference between free games and service credits, I think. So because like Josh was saying, the arcade would host private parties where people would get free games, and that would either mean that Josh would put the games on free play if he remembered, or everyone would just get a bunch of tokens. So when it said free games being a couple thousand, that's because there were many free parties at this location. Where this is people coming in and pushing the service button. I'm sure I was 100 plus of those, but yeah, so 2,100 ball searches. It's good that that number is pretty low. Lost ball feeds, so that means that the ball had been lost over multiple searches and the game would just give another ball to keep it going. I guess that means it started a game with a lost ball. Now here, this is where this gets really awesome. So, we get to see the statistics of where the ball went. Left drains, 764. Center drains, 69,043. We remember where this game has, 70, how many balls has this game started? 77,000?
That's maybe just at 70, maybe?
70,000 something. So a vast majority of them went down the middle, and almost an equal amount of balls went out the right side. 69,000. So that goes to show that this game is brutal from the center, and people don't know how to slap save. But that's okay. Tilts, 490.
About 100 of those.
I keep my tilt pretty loose on my personal games, and Josh does not keep the arcade games super tight either because, man, I tell you what, playing pinball and having an amazing save feels better, and that's what we strive for.
Part of the game.
It's part of the game. So that's actually kind of low, but it's whatever. I'm just glad people enjoy the game. 20,000 ball saves. 1,306,654 left flippers. What do you think the right flipper is? Was it?
I think it's 200,000 less.
Was it less? Oh yeah, it was less.
Because you can backhand the scoop and the saber-tooth shot and the snick shot, and you have to hit the lock shot from the left flipper.
That's true. So I found that, so generally, you'll find on games that the right flipper is used a whole lot more than the left flipper. Just because most people are right-handed, I think. And you see that the right flipper generally has way more usage. The left flipper on this, though, as Josh did explain, that there is a lot of shots to be made on the left flipper. Lock shot, orbits, left ramp, little Deadpool's easy to hit from the left flipper, the center shot. So less flips on the right flipper, which is interesting. And then you can see that, of course, too, like a majority of pinball games are played single player. There was a league at Transmission Arcade, but most people do play singular. So almost 20,000 games on one player, 1,300 on two, even less is three, because who wants to play a three-player game, and even less on four. Most pinball games are played singular. I am kind of surprised that these numbers are, I'm surprised that these numbers are a bit lower, I suppose, but this number, I'm also surprised it's a little low. I always feel like you did see, Transmission's also a great date spot. You see a lot of people going in to play, go on dates and play games together, but again, 8 other pinball games and like 15, 20 other video games and arcade games too, so. Then we see the time on games. That's sad, but it's very low percentage-wise. That's also kind of alarming, but this is about the range that makes most sense, right? 4,000, 2,800, 2,300, and then you've got the super Unicum players in their 5, 6, 8, 10, 15 bazillion minute games. One of those was probably Carlos. Laserlos had the high score on this thing before I brought it home, which was just amazing. Electric Bat Arcade, what's up, my friend? Yes, for anyone who just joined, we are looking at, oh, hey, Josh,
Yo.
Frozen Display.
Oh my. Let's take a look.
Yeah, the camera took a dump.
Maybe so.
Do you want to, can you guys, okay, my mic is still coming through. Yeah, give us just 1 second. Here, let's put the let's put the handheld cam on the playfield for now, and
Sure.
while we try to get that to go.
Yeah, no worries.
And then I'm gonna keep an eye on my levels, because if you restart the camera, it might kill my sound, and we might need to jump to the emergency microphone.
For sure.
So Mr. or Miss Electric Bat Arcade, we are taking a look at my Deadpool, which just came off of the Transmission Arcade's floor, and we are showing people what a game with 23,000 games on it looks like, and showing people that the plays on a game is a very arbitrary number, and it's all about maintenance and keeping a game in good condition. So let's see. Let me know when you're back on, Josh. My camera or my microphone is still working. So, Mr. Nubtastic said Carlos destroyed the GC on his rush. I think that's pretty commonplace. That guy's really good. Corner of the LCD damaged. No, that is a reflection of the light on my ceiling. That is being exacerbated by the soft light, the soft box shining back at it. Yep, you get to see some weird ceiling fan in my. All right, we're switching to another microphone now. Yeah, sorry. So since all of our sound is piped in through the camera that, oh, now we have sound again?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna try switching it back to the Sony.
Sure. Got this right behind you, John. That mid-ball kit.
Yeah. All right, yay, we have a really high quality camera again. Emoto loaned us her, well, Josh is also a videographer, but Emoto left her like super fancy camera here. And it has an AC adapter to keep it on all the time, and it wouldn't function with Josh's camera. So thank you, Emoto, for letting us use your camera.
I'm not sure how many more audits there are to...
There's not many more audits, but I didn't even remember where we were. Let's just speed through this. Replay percentage. The game has been turned on 903 times. The game has been on for 640 hours and counting. And now we're back to the beginning. So, yeah. Let's take a look at some of the other things. Again, now knowing that this game has, you know, whatever, the 70,000 balls run through it and the 23,000 games started on it, you know, which are anywhere from 3 to 5 balls, depending on extra balls. You know, look at this thing. It's still really nice, aside from the few pieces that we know. This is production, right? Having that chip in the playfield there, that is common on this ball guide. Unfortunate, but that is just a thing. That's how this game has been made for a while now. And, you know, we mitigate our issue that we have with that. Scoop, a little bit of chip right there. But the scoop protector definitely saves the playfield. So that's great. Broken plastic, a decapitated little Deadpool, you know, some flipper rebuilds, some dirty targets, a smashed up spinner right here. I'd say that the game held up extraordinarily well. There is, you know, it makes me upset and cringe a little bit when people are like, oh, Stern doesn't build a good game because I had X problem with mine, so obviously these games are not good. blah, blah, blah. This is a game that has had constant use in an arcade for 2.5 years, and it still essentially looks like new, and it still plays like new too. It all comes down to good maintenance. I'm going to stand by and now start spieling.
No worries. Do you want to lift the play field?
Yeah, we'll do that in a second.
Okay.
But again, it comes down to maintenance. Maintenance, and being on top of the problems. Having, there's a difference nowadays compared to the back in the day where you would have like the operating company come by every once in a while to collect money and maybe wipe the game down and not fix issues. When issues aren't fixed and repaired, they exacerbate and can potentially get worse. Nowadays with like owner-operator stuff and like, arcades, restaurants or whatever that have their own collections and people on site to repair things, you notice things. Josh notices things and tries to address them immediately. And that is why we have a game that is still in very nice shape after a lot of use. This game could continue to be used anywhere for years to come, and it would still maintain the condition it's in with proper maintenance and replacement of wear items, right? Changing out your pinballs, keeping the game clean, touching, tightening, right? I'm always saying to tighten things, get in there and find things that are loose, replace those broken rubbers, lift up the game, check things out underneath, play it a few times. One of the greatest things about fixing pinball games when I did that for full time is I got paid to play pinball. You have to play them to find the issues. But it's all about maintenance. If I put this game somewhere that got an equal amount of play, but it wasn't taken care of, it wasn't cleaned, didn't have the ball changed, the game would absolutely look drastically different. So the moral of the story is pinball is still made to a very high standard. These games are meant to be on location, or built to be on location. They're meant to be jostled around and bumped and scraped and pushed and abused by the general public. And there's no reason why they can't look almost just as good as when they came out of the box, perpetually, if you take care of the damn thing. That being said, going back to my first spiel, I find play counts to be absolutely arbitrary. That means nothing. People always like to bring the car analogy into pinball, and that they are absolutely not comparable. I could take my Volkswagen GTI, if I bought 2 of them, and I left one sit in the driveway, and I only drove it once a week to the grocery store and back, and it sat, it would have low mileage, but maybe I'm not doing my maintenance on it because it's just sitting in the driveway and like, oh, I haven't driven it much, why change the oil? Or, why change the tires? They still look black and hold air. Where I could also have my current car with 45,000 miles on it, and I change the tires, I do the oil, I wash it, I keep it clean, I maintain it. There's a difference, right? That's why you do see a lot of people, if you want to go the car route, when you have a barn find, when you find some car in a barn that has 1,000 miles, but it's been sitting there for 20 years, it's a giant piece of crap that needs to be taken all the way apart and put back together again. Just like most pinball games that we have to work on, that are much older or have been used a lot. Things just don't add up. If you take care of things you own, whether it's a pinball game, a car, furniture, camera equipment, your computer, something, if you take care of it, they will last a long time. Absolutely pinball included. If you want to have a pinball game that never wears out, stays perfect, and will absolutely have 0 problems, leave it in the box. That is the only way to have that happen. You cannot keep a game that's basis is to fling a stainless steel ball around on a plywood playfield covered in plastic bits, stay perfect. It's impossible. And you shouldn't strive for that, because why would you want to own the world's most unloved, unplayed pinball machine? You'd be crazy. You're supposed to play these things and enjoy them. I think like one of the points of this show that I've always wanted to show people is that these are definitely meant to be played and used and enjoyed. They are not Tiffany eggs. They do not need to be polished and waxed every time you play a pinball game. You know, just enjoy the thing. That's what they're here to do. And also, when they break, you can fix them. That's what I'm here to help you with. So, yeah, I don't know. Does that make sense? Does it look good? Am I crazy? Does everyone on the chat say this looks like absolute crap or what? So, location that had a Xenon. It did so well, the location owner asked for a second one. Oh my God. 2 Xenons? That's hilarious. Well, no, I mean, look, that's definitely a possibility too. Let's take that and consider that these are also very complicated machines. There are thousands of parts on this pinball machine. Then they go in a box. They are tested. Stern does test their games. I've seen it. There's a huge portion of the factory that involves people touching, poking, and making things work. They get put together and put into a box. Then they get put on a truck and they are shipped to Timbuktu or wherever you are. There's a lot of chance for things to fail in between there, however it's, you know, jostled around, and where it's delivered to. Sometimes you do have problems out of the box. And that's one thing you have to consider too. This is a very new era for pinball. When you consider in the 90s, you know, we're talking about Stern. The Data East sold to very few customers. Data East sold their games to, Betson and C.A. Robinson and Automatic Sales and, you know, all these big distributors. And then those distributors would then sell their games to Kyle's music company and Josh's cigarette route. And we would go put our games out. The difference is if Josh's cigarette vending company got a game that was broken, he would probably have people that knew how to fix it when it came out of the box. Or your distributor, which would generally be regional and local, would also know how to fix it. Now we have a problem, not a problem, but a different environment where Stern sells their pinball game to Kyle's pinball distribution, and then Kyle gives it to a customer, or ships it to a customer perhaps, and then there's a problem, and that game needs to be serviced, and that person lives in Alaska, and there's no one there to fix his game. There's a problem, right? If you were buying a new game, this is what I always try to recommend people to do, to support your local distributor, support someone who has the game that you can touch and they can deliver, or they will be able to support the game and they're semi-local. It's a lot harder to have a distributor in the middle of the country come fix your game when you live in California or something like that, right? There's absolutely a million reasons why things might go wrong when they're new, but if we take that factor out of it and we have a game that worked and then we put it on location, with good maintenance you can end up with a pretty nice game still. It's paid itself off. It's made a lot of people happy, and now it's going to make me happy at home because I finally get to play Deadpool at home. Does that make sense? Was it Neil's James Bond that got damaged? Oh, that sucks. Okay, let's talk about shooter lanes. I hate your shooter lanes. I hate how everyone is so into shooter lanes. It's ridiculous. Look at my shooter lane. That is a shooter lane. It is uncleaned, and that is what it looks like. It is a routed out piece of wood where a ball rolls, and the ball gets shot out of a metal pipe, and that's it. 70,000 times. It is. This is what a shooter lane looks like. Okay, let's look at a 50-something-year-old shooter lane. It looks like exactly the same. It's just cleaner because this game has been cleaned more recently or not played nearly as much. Actually, here, let's look at another game. Let's look at another shooter lane. This is an older game. This is my TNA. It looks like a shooter lane. It's just, I think that is the most ridiculous judge of the quality of or condition of a game. Jesus. One thing I will say, there is a setting that I will sometimes do on these Stern games that is a small adjustment, but I have seen sometimes like the ball shooter strength is actually so strong that sometimes you will have a chance of the ball shooting out of the shooter lane hitting the strike plate and then bouncing back into the trough. So one thing I will do, and I don't think I have done this yet, I think I'm in the right, you know what? No, I think it's a Deadpool adjustment. You can actually change like the pulse length, trough eject power. So we can turn this down a lot. I don't know what arbitrary like adjustment this actually is, like if it's like a millisecond pulse or something like that, but you can adjust that thing down to the point where you can get it just strong enough to pop it out of the shooter lane. Josh is switching cameras. We've lowered it. A little gentle. That might not be reliable. But lowering that can definitely reduce the pressure, right, put on the ball as it jumps out into the shooter lane. So again, it's not the world's most important thing, but to me, but yeah. Again, my goal, like I always say, is my goal is not to have the world's most unloved, unplayed pinball game. I want to have a game I enjoy to play, no matter what condition it's in. Abe Flips, what's up? How are you? Thank you for joining again. Have you seen his flipper tutorials on YouTube?
Gosh,
Yeah. I feel like I am not worthy of his presence, but thank you for joining, mate.
No shooter rod on Deadpool.
I just puked looking at that shooter.
Yeah, motion sickness warning. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Fliptronics.
Hey, happy birthday. Hey, everyone, it's Fliptronic's birthday. Give them a high five or something. It's their birthday. Happy birthday, Jordan. Already alerted the local pinside police. Oh no. Is the rubber tip worn on the shooter rod? Actually, you know what? It might be. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. I will probably...
Ever replace the shooter rod tip?
I don't think I have either, or I never came in and did either. It looks fine. Black rubber tends to last for a really long time. And this one looks okay. I did install super bands on the slingshots here just so I didn't have to ever replace them again. This is natural black rubber. I'll probably replace those. I might try Titan flipper rubbers again since we stock those. I'd like to give them a shot. But otherwise, the rest of the rubber on here is just a stock Stern rubber. Look, we've got a really loose post there. Definitely want to fix that. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm just going to, maybe this weekend I'll come into this game with some Novus and try to buff it up, give it a clean, and, you know, enjoy some Deadpool moving forward. So was that good? Do you guys, was that like informative at all? Was that too opinionated? Was that, I don't know. Can you link Abe Flip's YouTube page?
For sure.
Just in case. Yeah, it was a lot of hot takes, and let's be honest, like this, I don't like to do hot takes on this show, right? That's not my forte, I guess. But I think that there is like some difference. There are things that are like, what am I trying to say? There are truths that I don't think are the most popular of opinions. You don't see a lot of other people, I don't know, trying to disprove or show the difference between these sorts of conditions and stuff, right? I mean, I've seen plenty of what people might say a home use only game. I've actually seen some home use only 80s Bally games that are just absolute piles of crap because the ball was never changed and they just look like garbage. They were never maintained. Where I've seen plenty of future spas that have obviously lived one heck of a life that are in much better condition and play better. I've gone to collectors' houses that pride themselves on having the cleanest, shiniest games, and in my opinion, they play like crap, where I could go to Free Gold Watch and play Chris's super blown out Attack from Mars with the world's largest saucer hole from decades of enjoyment, and that game plays 1,000 times better than the baby, not well set up, not as well maintained game. Again, it's like, this is just, there's a lot of facets to pinball. It's a physical game. That's why there's so many differences, right? But there's just a lot to be said about proper maintenance. It all comes back down to proper maintenance. If you can maintain a game, keep on top of issues, it'll last forever until it burns down in an unfortunate fire. Who knows? I don't know. Let's open it up. Let's take a look underneath also. I'm trying to see what people are talking about here too. No, yeah, there's very few actual home use only games. I saw a, I'll wait for Josh to unload the balls. Thank you, Josh. I've seen the future spa I was talking about. I went to go buy it for my boss. A guy was selling his house, wanted to get rid of the game. It had the receipt with the delivery charge and unboxing fee from 1979 on an invoice. This guy had owned it since it was new, and it was just a total junker, you know. But home use only also means nothing. That was such a hot catchphrase 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. There were very few games that are actually home use only until recently. Only some of the most recent games in the last 10 to 12 years, maybe 20 years, are home use only. There were a lot of Stern games in the 2000s that went straight to homes. It was virtually unheard of for games before the WPC era to go straight into homes. Very, very few. No, yeah, I'm reading Fliptronic's things about pictures of the shooter lane and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I don't sell games, but if, you know, while someone's sitting there maybe messaging me about shooter lane pics and dimple pictures, there's 5 other people in my inbox saying, when can I come pick it up? Buy games from people you know, people you trust. Go see the game. Does the game look like something you want to bring home? Does the game look like the condition it's in would make you happy and you want to pay that much money for? Those are the only things that should matter to you. Not the amount of plays or how little dimples there are in the shooter lane, right? Wild Man. The code is our free domestic shipping code for orders over $99 is PT SNICT, which is a play on a shot in Deadpool where you bounce the ball off of a target, it goes up the lock ramp, and it starts a playfield multiplier. Is
it like that in the chat?
What's up?
Is that how you spell it?
It's all capitals, and there's a dash between PT and SNIKT. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, decades of routing, 1 year of home use. Yeah, no, again, condition is everything. Condition is everything. It's you know, it is what it is. I would much rather pay money for a game that works than a game that has low plays. So, anyways, I am going to we'll drop that subject now because it's a lot of hot takes and I don't want to say things over and over again. But genuine question: when checking out a game, what are the most subtle hack jobs to look out for? Look at the quality of soldering on things that look like they've been redone, right? Like the flipper coils, if they're not original, you know, is the soldering really nasty and icky? Look at the computer, you know, look at the boards in the back for most older traditional games and see what sort of condition some of the connectors are in and stuff like that. Generally, when I used to buy a lot of games for my boss, you just go and see, does it work? Is it in the condition? Is it in a good enough condition for the amount of money you're paying to resell it or use? And if those things kind of match what you're thinking, then buy the game. You know, but nowadays pinball's expensive. When I was buying $3,000 Addams Families, that was one thing, but nowadays it's not. So again, just kick the tires, take a look, play the game. Does it flip well? Does it play well? Would you be happy bringing it home and setting it up in your house and playing it right when you get home? If so, then it's probably a game to buy. Do operators typically reset the audits when they move a machine from one location to the other? I mean, it depends on what you consider an operator. Like an actual operator, yes. A hobbyist operator, like a lot of people nowadays or a lot of locations rely on, maybe not. It just depends on how concerned they are with numbers. I wouldn't. It doesn't make, as long as there's money in the cash box, that's fine to me. I don't care about the numbers so much, but but checking audits is also a way to ensure that people aren't stealing from you. Maybe people that have the keys aren't stealing from you. You can check and see how many free games have come up. That's almost theft, I guess, depending on, but also don't give your keys to people that you don't trust. I don't know. Let's take a look at under the game and just see. I mean, there's just not as much to look at. This is Deadpool. Things you'll see in a routed game or a game that's been used a lot. It's not uncommon to find screws. We will have to find where this screw came from. It's dirty. The nice, beautiful blonde wood of this pinball machine has been forever marred by dust created by coils, easily fixable by vacuuming, and then maybe taking a slightly damp cloth and trying to wipe some up. That's probably what I'll do. Just to keep it clean. I like to keep games clean because when you start seeing this sort of dust, that also tells you that things might be on their way to failing. Here is the switch that Josh and I have had a lot of trouble with. This one's still working. I'm going to cut the power just because we're poking around down here. We've got a coil wrapper on the drop target trip coil that's come loose. Oh no. It's not worth money anymore. We gotta lowball people. Flippers. These are all factory flippers. Coils. Never replaced the coils. We've rebuilt the flippers a few times. I'll probably rebuild them again now, just because it's home and now I'll have a baseline. Let's take the condition. It's starting to get there. You can see a little bit of move. I don't know what the camera can see, but you can see a little bit of free play in that. We can, it's not that bad. Honestly, actually, I might not do anything. This one's worse. I can see about 1 millimeter of play in that flipper as I move it in and out with the plunger stationary. That one's pretty bad. So we'll want to replace those. Otherwise, it's, it's still good. The coil stops for the kickers are still in there. Sometimes you'll find the coil stops that are built into the pop bumper brackets fail. Those are still in there. The Pro is a pretty simple game. Compared to the Premium, there's a lot less to go wrong. One thing that I was having a little trouble with, I think this bracket is bent. It was a little bent from the factory, and I've messed with it a few times. But we have this is the plunger that holds the balls on the katana. And when it releases a ball, it should pull down and then let back up. And sometimes, since the bracket was just ever so slightly bent, when it would pull down, it would not reset until it had some jostling, maybe from a pop bumper or something. But this has been a game that has required basically zero maintenance, aside from new flippers, this switch being replaced a few times, snapped rubbers, and basic maintenance, such as cleaning, right? Yeah. That's really it. The cash box lid is sitting in the back. It's pretty clean back there. You get a lot more dust up front because this is what's created by the flippers. I would like to find where the screw came from, but that'll just take a minute of me, peering through and seeing what's missing a screw. But we'll take a look-see. But yeah, there's not much to see underneath. Put the playfield back down. The fun thing about, let's talk about operating games a little bit too, as a enthusiast that can probably keep their games running in a public location. It is a fun way. I'm not rich. This was a birthday present. I had just sold my house in California and we made a little money and I decided to buy this as a birthday present. This is one of my favorite games of all time. Deadpool is a masterpiece. And if it was like maybe a small side business, you have a friend with a pizza shop and you want to go throw a couple games in, or a bar, whatever, a coffee shop, whatever they own. It is a good way to spend a couple $1,000s and buy a new piece of equipment, maintain that new piece of equipment until it pays itself off, and then maybe just invest that money you've made on that new purchase into another game, and you have another, right? That's how these things work. That's how a lot of collectors really get out of hand. I own almost 30...
Buy one game that pays for one game, and then those 2 games pay for 4 games.
For 4 games, and then 4 games, it just exponentially explodes. I own 30 or more pinball games, or maybe less, I don't know. I own around 30 pinball games. That's too many. That's stupid. That's a problem. You need a place to put them, and that is why it makes sense to try and operate them. I like to share as well. Like I actually kind of hate that I have 8 pinball games at home right now, but I don't have time to operate them. But I like to share. But there's too many, right? If you put them out, they can start making something for you. They can also provide to give you more pinball games if you have the space or the means to do so. I would say do it. Try it. Some places are easier than others. In California, I just threw games out there and they made money. In this state, I have to have a business,
Operator license.
and then I need to have I have to get a license for my business to operate pinball games, and then a license for each game. So much for small government, right? But we'll stop there. But some places are a little easier to do it than others. Each game is $250 in the state of South Carolina to operate it for 2 years. So the first 250 games on your pinball game are going to be an absolute wash. You haven't made a cent. After that, then you start earning some cash. But as we saw, in 2 years, this game made almost, was it $9,000 something dollars? So it's pretty good. That would pay for another game if you wanted another game.
Well, one thing to consider is if you are talking about operating is the split.
There's a split too. When you have, generally, if the location, I would generally try to go into a location and ask them for no split for a certain amount of time. Splits are things that are in place where I pay a portion of my earnings to the business owner to share the profit. I wouldn't go into a new location that's unproven with a split. You go in and see how it does, and then you start splitting. But yeah, so I mean, look, if this game was 50 cents a play, every 25 cents I made, Josh made another 25 cents on each game. And that's fine, right? Because I'm happy to have my game somewhere where people are enjoying it, and I'm also still making money. It's worth it to me. Now, that being said, I mean, most of the time, 50 cents, it's more money. That's double what we just talked about. You make more money quicker. So every dollar you make 50 cents, the location would make 50 cents. I think a 50-50 split, depending on the place, a 50-50 split is absolutely not in the operator's best interest. Josh didn't need my game. Josh has a bunch of games. He could put his own games and make 100% of the cut. I'm totally fine with that. I'm thankful. But a 50-50 split in most locations where you're not earning dozens of dollars a day, let's say, is not worth it. It's not worth your time. If I had to go take a 20-minute drive one direction to go work on a game that I'm really only bringing in $100 a month, $100 a weekend, it cuts into a lot of your earnings there, right? So those are other things to consider. You also have to value your time because you will need to go work on the games. So don't forget that. But also don't be afraid to buy a new Stern game because they hold up very well. I'm very happy about this. I'm gonna come check the chat now. Y'all are talking. Gold dust explanation. Yes, gold dust. Some of the bad coil stops that some Stern games have out of the box. These ones were changed before I put them on location. I did tech index. I have done tech work at Indisc a few times, way back in the day. But I would love to go back to Indisc sometime. I don't remember how much Deadpool made per month, and it just depends on how much Josh pulled, how often he pulled it. We've got the numbers, but look, like every single time I'd go into the arcade, like once a month when I'd go in trying to find money, there would be $100-something in the game, right? And that's fine because it's not money I sustain myself on. It's just nice to have extra pocket change every once in a while, right? Pin addict, yes. But it really, really depends on the location and how many games are there and how much it's competing. Every location has a maximum dollar potential. If you put 5 games into a location, the people that come in are going to put all of their money into those 5 games. If you put 10 to 12 games into a location, that doesn't mean there's necessarily more money coming in when you start putting more games into those locations, right? So that being said, you know, there's that old adage, location, location, location. It really is true. A good location that is based around gaming with passionate gamers, pinball will do well in. The other adage, if you build it, they will come, is not necessarily true all the time. Breweries are fantastic places to put pinball games. I would absolutely recommend, if you have a small local brewery, try to get it in. Put your games in there. Organize events. Get people to come in and buy their product, play your games, build a community in that sort of a space. It works very well. Beer and pinball go very well together. If you aren't a fan of alcohol, if you don't want to be around alcohol or something, you know, small restaurants also do quite well. Small themed restaurants maybe, or places that aren't chains, right? Of course. But yeah. Or an arcade. If you've got a local arcade, you know, if you've got something unique or a game that you'd like to put out, ask the owner. Maybe there is a chance that that person would love that game to put into their stable.
We've got games in a pizza restaurant that doesn't sell beer. Village Idiot.
Yeah.
I think everywhere else that games is in alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, a beer in one hand and next to your flipper hands is also that just, it's a match made in heaven. It just works well. Breweries are very profitable places to keep games. I have had games in breweries for years, and it does great. But yeah, it is all about location and how much money you take out. So, where are my games? I only have one game on location right now at a bar called Art Bar in Columbia, South Carolina. A bunch of them are in my house, a bunch of them are in other friends' houses, and another bunch of them are where we stream this show most of the time. Holy crap, Loose Flip. Just rated. What's up? Wie geht's, Andy? Dankeschön. I speak very crappy German, but welcome to everyone who is watching Loose Flip, a hopeful Twippy winner. I voted for you. On this channel, we work on pinball games, and today we went over my Deadpool, which has been in an arcade for 2 years, and we were showing the condition of it after being on location for 2 years. So now we're just talking. Welcome. Thank you, Raiders. How's it going? What is up, everybody? What were you playing, Andy? What was going on today? What did my videographer just say? He was just talking about places that he has games also that do not serve alcohol. So, pizza place. What is up, everybody? Look at all these. Besta chat. Oh man, I wish I had one of my Loose Flip shirts on right now. How's it going, everybody? Yeah, we should play pinball again. We should do a pinball stream. I'd like to play this on stream. Let's pan the camera over to this beautiful thing. We've got a bunch of Germans in the chat now, perhaps. We have Spanish pinball here. Do you have any Spanish games, Andy? I don't know if you do or not. I love this game. It's one of my favorites. Simpsons Data East. Yeah, that's a good game. Very good game. I haven't played a Simpsons in a while. We have one at work. I should play that more often. Yep, yeah, I've got a TNA back there. That's my old school TNA. I've had that one for a very long time. That used to be in an arcade too. I've kept that for a while. Oh, look at that. Now Andy's a sub in our own channel. Awesome. Cheers. Oh, hey, now I have another beverage. Yeah. We're kind of done with the actual subject matter of the stream today. Does anyone have any pinball questions, pinball stories? Does anyone have anything they'd like to talk about, pinball related? I feel bad now that we were rated by all of our friends from Loose Flip's stream, but we are kind of winding ours down as well. We've been streaming for an hour and a half or so now. I have to keep moving to read my chat. No, it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah, I'll make it full screen for you.
Yeah. How many pinballs do I have? Are we in an arcade? No, I'm actually in my living room. Normally we stream this from a studio where I have a backdrop with a bunch of my games, but we just brought my Deadpool home from an arcade, and we wanted to show people after it has been played over 20,000 times what condition the game is in, and it's in very good condition still. How many pinballs do I own? I think I own around 30. Too many. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I have 7 of them in my house right now, and then the rest of them are at friends' houses or at my work studio where we record this show normally. I've been fixing pinball games full-time since around 2009. I bought my first pinball game in 2006. My neighbor, when I was a kid, had a bunch of pinball and video games, so I became very obsessed with coin-operated stuff. When I was a kid, I'd ride my bicycle all over the place to try to find every pinball I could. Movie theaters and laser tags and stuff like that. So, yeah.
People asking about your canned drink.
This is a Spindrift sparkling water. It is lime flavor. So, for my German friends, it's Wasser mit Kohlensäure, right? Carbonic acid, bubbly water. And then I've also got a little whiskey here for a successful stream. Thank you, Josh. Cheers.
Yeah, of course.
Look at all these people. So many.
There's a question about Walking Dead. No eject power setting. Any way to reduce the power by removing windings or adding resistance?
I wouldn't work about that so much. I don't know. I think there is a setting in your Walking Dead. Double check. It might be under your Walking Dead adjustments, but to be honest, if you're really worried about it, just put a little bit of Mylar in your shooter lane.
Somebody asked about what is normal to split.
What is normal to split? I mean, a lot of places will do 50-50. I tend to enjoy the 60-40 split, where me being the equipment owner gets 60% of the money. I saw Abe Flips asking if I'm a competitive pinball player. No. I am better than average. I'm a pretty okay pinball player, but generally I find tournaments to be too mentally exhausting for me. When you have to sit and play pinball for hours, I find that I don't do very well in those situations. I usually like a more casual league or something like that, where everyone gets together and plays for 1 or 2 hours and has fun. But your flipper videos have definitely helped me to re-up my skills. I'm really working on the live catch. That's the hardest thing for me to do. But I'll have to watch your video again.
You're being hailed as a split flipper champion?
Yes. Tracy and I are split flipper champions. I have my number 1 split flipper partner is Tracy from Outer Spacey. We are pretty good at that. Loose Flip drinks real beer. I want to come over. Next time I come to Germany, you're going to tattoo me. I'm excited. Mineralwasser. Yeah, I like Wasser mit Kohlensäure because it's funnier to say. I also like telling my wife to say that whenever we go out to restaurants, and she finally got it. After we'd been in Germany for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, she finally got it perfect. I want to come over and drink real beer, but when I come over, we're going to drink real beer, and that's Kolsch. Only good Kolsch. I'm kidding. It is good, but I'll drink whatever you're drinking, Andy. Is there a replacement for the Squawk and Talk board? I think someone did make a replacement for the Squawk and Talk board, But the Squawk and Talk board is very easy to repair. Any decent board fixing person that advertises themselves as fixing pinball boards should be able to fix your Squawk and Talk. I think I did do a small video series on repairing my Squawk and Talk from my Bally Vector game once. And that one was rather simple. It is a complicated board though. It is a full computer. No, Kolsch, it's not real beer. Aha, see? I knew you would say that. Are you involved with software development of pinball machines also? No.
Only your own.
Yeah, only my own pinball game that I'm trying to make. I actually do have the honor of helping Mike Vinocour and Lonnie repair one bug in James Bond right before Pinball Expo. That is the only thing I've ever helped with, and that was actually pretty fun. So, cheers to that. Drinking a little bourbon. You guys are too good. I would like to learn more coding. I feel like that was a missed opportunity in my life. I feel like I do have a coding brain because I am very methodical and think about how things work together to try to fix problems. But I decided to work on motorcycles instead, which then led me to this problem, which is pinball. But yeah. Hello, welcome. Pinball is pretty cool, and thanks for the subscription. What's the bourbon? This is Buffalo Trace. I was gifted this bottle by my fine videographer friend over here, Josh. So, is there some kind of standard authoring environment everyone uses? There's a couple different frameworks for pinball coding, especially for like homemade pinballs, and I am not a good resource on that. So
Discord that's popular.
Yeah,
I think that surrounds the P-Rock system, maybe.
I don't know. I think it's just like a homebrew like community, but there's a few different frameworks in the way that they work together. But I have a few friends that are assisting me with the work I'm going to start doing on my own game, and they've told me learn Python. So I have started doing some basic reading and fiddling around with Python. So I'd like to be able to code my own game. But that's going to make it even harder to get it anywhere near done, because now I have to build, design, come up with the rules, code it, but it's going to be great fun. Any chance you can show how to measure a WPC power board? It's so complex. Yes. Let's do that in a couple weeks. We are working on, I have a shadow that I'm working on at the place where I film this show normally, and we can look around at that. I haven't worked on a ton of WPC games because now I only own one. I used to own many, and now I only own one, and it's in that room over there, and it's fine. So we've never really, well, actually no, Twilight Zone is broken. We could repair something on Twilight Zone. But we'll do that on the Shadow. If you are interested, there might be a video on the Indianapolis 500 pinball game I did a year or more ago, where we kind of go over the WPC system. But maybe in 3 to 4 weeks, if you have questions, I can help you with that. Next week, after many emails back and forth, George Gomez will be joining us again on Thursday, and we're going to look at the James Bond Premium, which I have at our site, off-site, and George is going to do more talking about James Bond. I love listening to him talk about things he is super passionate about, and one of those things being James Bond. So that'll be pretty cool. Python is lovely. Good, because I'm going to need to learn. Kyle, do you use pin skates? Yes, I do have some pin skates. When are you getting pin skates back? I don't know. What does the start chime on Mars Trek sound like? I will show you. Huh. Show us the James Bond. Next week. Also next week. Yeah, I don't have one at my house, unfortunately.
Not yet.
Next week when we do the stream, we are going to start at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. So we're going to start it 2 hours later than we normally start because George has many things to do, being a very busy creative person. So it'll be a late stream, but hopefully that means maybe some of you guys might have more time. Maybe some of you folks in Europe might not be able to join because it'll be a bit later, but we'll see. We'll work on it. We'll do it live with Abe Flips. That'll be more fun. Show us the James Bond. I'm sorry. Virtual pinball can be used as a prototyping tool. Yes, I actually am. That's how I've built my game and kind of deemed some of the ideas I had to work was using visual pinball, which is fun. It's very difficult to use. Not very difficult. It's a little, the UI is a little antiquated, but it works quite well. It's an interesting little simulation. I've just put together the framework and where I'd like some components. But yeah, it's all together and we'll see. I have an idea for the theme I'm not going to share yet, but I'm just hoping it's more experiential than necessarily like the most hardcore game of all time. I kind of want to make my own art projects based on one of my favorite bands and some of their cool music. Let me show the chimes on Mars Trek really quick, just since someone's curious. They're Williams chimes. They're just a knockoff, so. Trying to get my microphone nice and close. So they're basically the worst chimes, with Gottlieb being the best. Using those dead flips since I'm only using one flipper. It's very pleasant, but the Gottlieb chimes are definitely the best in my opinion. What time is it?
Is this
Oh, it's almost time.
possibly a WPC power driver?
Oof.
Maybe.
I don't know. Sounds like a doorbell. Yes, it very much does. If we had time to go into my other room and play Jungle Princess, those sound a lot better. Let it be the band you're referring to. Okay, I'll give one hint. And again, this is not like, it's not like some trade secret and it's going to be like the world's best-selling pinball game, but they are a band of robots, but they're not as contemporary as you think it might be. And they're not French, so that, let's just, we can get rid of it there. Maybe some of the Germans that might still be around might know who it is. If you do know who it is, don't blurt it out, but if you did, whatever. Oh, okay. All right, fine, yes. That's good. I am going to make my plan is to make a Kraftwerk game. I love Kraftwerk and I really want to feature some music in pinball. I think it might be fun, so that's fine. You can do it. Oh, it should be the Country Bears. I should. If my wife was listening right now, she would be like, "Yes, Country Bears should be the theme of your game." It would be so good. Yeah. I've seen Kraftwerk a bunch of times. I saw Kraftwerk 3 nights in a row when they came to play in Oakland 5, 6, 7 years ago. So. Brondex, thank you for joining us. Bye-bye. Tschüss. Gute Nacht. Take a nice sleep. Man, yeah, you guys are fun. I'm going to just sit down here by the chat now because I don't want to keep bending over like a weirdo. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm excited to talk to George next week. So I am a Kraftwerk fan. Autobahn is such a great record. See, but that's my problem, is there's so much, being a Kraftwerk fan, I want to use so much music that I can't, because I can't put like a 30-minute song into a game, right? It's just not usable. So I'm going to use some of the shorter songs and yeah.
Well, get better.
Get better, yeah, be able to play for 30 minutes.
Easy.
I mean, what I think is like, okay, let's talk about my game for a minute, fine. I've given away the secret.
Visual pinball here.
Yeah. It's single level game. It's going to be very basic. My idea was more so like to take the inspiration from older Bally games, which is also like super inspiring here. One of my favorite games of all time as well, TNA. Scott did an amazing thing with a very simple playfield. But putting a few features into a game and allowing you to interact with those features, but trying to also theme those portions of the playfield around imagery, like from Craftwork, right? Again, maybe it's because don't have any self-confidence, but to me, I think of it more as like of an art project, a small art project that just happens to be based around the medium of pinball, an interactive art project. That doesn't mean I'm not thinking about rules and how things are going to interact, and I want there to be a multi-ball and there's going to be a ton of drop targets, but it's just going to be fun. So now that you all know, I guess you guys can push me into working on it. So the clamp rivet tool does work for semi-tubular rivets. Huh, jukebox mods to VP2. I might ask for some help eventually. I don't know how far I'm going to bring it in visual pinball. Visual pinball is a really great tool, but I think I'm just extremely lucky to know a lot of people that have done homebrew stuff and want to help me make it into an actuality. So like,
Blaming on one of their games.
Yes, this guy's offered a bunch to help me out. Matt Benzik has offered to help me out. Jack Danger has given me tips. There's a lot of people that want to help make something and help other people make things. So I really do want to take them up on that offer. But I think that's like where the mental disconnect for me is happening, is like, how far do I go virtually before I actually get out like a foam core and start putting things in the board? That's where I'm trying to figure out like where to go and when to stop, and but yeah, it'll be fun. You guys will be part of it too. It should work for replacing the ramp flaps on T3. It's that one would be that is a good choice, and it's relatively cheap. Are you hiding? See, you guys are helping me design my own game now. I guess I should have told you a long time ago. What do you think, Eska? Should I just stream in this room all the time?
Yes.
All right.
No. It's not the worst.
Did your work say why the hell is someone in the other room screaming while you were in a meeting?
No, the mic didn't pick up.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go try to find a cat. Well, let's do this while we're still here. Everyone wants to see cats, so let me go find a cat. Should I get Ludwig?
Yeah, go get him.
Okay.
He's the most handsome.
Pete, get out of there. All right, these are the fun bits about being able to do live streams at home.
I knew she was from Mexico.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I got you.
Here's Ludwig. Oh, don't be scared. It's just Josh and a camera.
Right.
Isn't he handsome? He's really big. He's got an air tag, so if he ever runs away, which he won't because he barely does anything other than sleep, we'll know where he is. Here, check it out. Look how big this dude is. Oh. He's a big cat. He's very stage frighty right now. He's really big and fluffy, and he's very sweet. He's very dumb. But he loves to sleep, and he's extra handsome. He's very handsome. And here's another cat. Let me see if I can catch it. Hi, Pistachio. Come here. Come here, Peanut. Come here. Come here. Ugh. All right. Here's another cat. Ugh. This one's Pistachio. He's the oldest black cat. He was our first cat. He's very handsome. He's like, if you look up a cat in a dictionary, this is what it would be. It's just like the most basic cat. He's like 10 pounds, kind of muscular, wiry, kind of a jerk, just very standard. Very handsome specimen. His little face, he's very handsome. He's Black Cat Pinball, he's the reason. And then there's another one over there, Sebastian. I won't be able to catch Sebastian. Chunk. They are cool cats. And then we have another cat called Max, and he is a teeny little gray cat, and he is really scared of everything. As soon as the door opens, he just runs away and hides. But then he comes back. He's very cute and very dumb, but he's sweet. So we have 3 black cats and 1 gray cat. That's all the cats you're gonna get for now, though. Yeah, see, people like the black cats. Fine specimen. Fine specimen. That's exactly what Ludwig is. He's a very fine specimen. Tracy's allergic to cats. I didn't know that. Because you have a cat. Oh well. Who should we raid? Is there anyone to raid? Can you see if Manu's online? Let's start prepping for that. Because the fact that I'm like running around trying to capture cats shows me that the stream is basically over. But getting good? Yes. No. It is getting good. We could go on a tour of like Kyle's oddity museum of mostly my wife's interesting, weird old things. We'll just stream until Manu's online. Generally, the people we stream are like under the followed channels there. So, but none of those people are. Well, let's just wait. We'll give Manu a couple minutes here. Show and tell time. Okay. There is some stuff to show and tell. I have some weird stuff. Do you guys want to see a brick? A brick from the Williams factory?
It looks
oh man.
so different than every other brick.
Yeah. Schwank has just clipped. Thank you. I'm excited to watch that later. Hi, Daniel. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry you were late, but we were just talking about pinball. Maybe you'll enjoy watching the stream a little bit later. Tommy Rizzo is online? What the hell?
Oh yeah, let's definitely read that.
Yeah, geez. Let me go I'll go find a pinball oddity from my pinball room really quick. Let's go see. I don't know if the microphone's gonna work this far away. Here's a brick. Hey, get out of here, cat. What are you doing? This thing's pretty cool. What do you... Here's some oddities. Here's some fun things to look at.
Oh, I turned the other mic on while you were gone to give them some chimes.
Chiming.
Some waiting chimes.
Here's a here's a really weird vinyl folder, a Williams Electronics vinyl folder. Maybe was contained of promotional materials. I don't know. It's kind of cool. I don't remember where I got it, but I've had it for a while. Here is one of the original pencil drawings for John Chad's Graphic History of Pinball novel that he did. Yeah, really cool book. If you don't have it, you should get one, but I bought one of his original pencil drawings. I don't remember exactly what section this was in, but I really liked the depiction of the person down there playing Electra. And I loved the action of the ball and the pop bumpers and stuff like that on the top. So this one's really neat, and am excited to hang it up in my pinball room. And then here is the stupidest thing. This is an actual brick from the Williams Pinball Factory on California Avenue in Chicago.
Holding it gives you good luck.
Yeah. It's an actual brick that housed the building that made pinball. And it's no different, or is it, than any of these bricks on my mantle. Who knows? Maybe it's not. Maybe I didn't get this in Chicago at the pinball factory while they were tearing it down, but I did. But it's, yeah.
Depends on who's asking.
Depends on who's asking. If it's anyone from Williams, I didn't steal a pile of bricks, a couple bricks outside of the old factory. But how did I get it? Wow, people actually think that's cool. I think it's really dumb. So the first time I went to Chicago, me and my friend Mike were driving around, and he showed me where he used to work at Williams, and they were actually tearing down a portion of the building, and I was like, man, it'd be fun to jump the fence and grab a brick, and he's like, you should. And I went over there, and I didn't have to jump the fence because there's actually a pile of them in the dirt. So we picked up 2 bricks, and I shit you not, as we went and picked up those bricks and turned around, who was on the other side of the street yelling at us? But the entire Danger Clan. Jack, his wife, his daughters, calling me a hooligan for stealing bricks. And that was pretty funny. So, you know, that was the whole story. I swear that happened. It was very humorous. And then Mike and I went and got a pizza. And then we went back to his house and played pinball. It was very, very Chicago. Very Chicago. I could go get weird things. I have so many weird parts. Yeah, let's wait for someone to stream. I'm going to go put some of these back. I'm going to go get a weird part now. You guys get to see some stuff. I wish we could take the whole rig into this dirty room, but I'm not going to force you. So I got this with the intention to put it in my roller games maybe one day, because I've been asking Mark Panaccio to rewrite the code to work with drop targets, but this is the rarest drop target bank of all time. I think I've said this a billion times, there's only 2 games, Williams games, that used 5 bank drop targets in the 80s. One of them was Bad Cats, and the other one was Swords of Fury. This is a Swords of Fury drop target bank. It's unique because it has 5 individually resettable targets.
Whoa! Instead of a blanket.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So you can end up doing battle with them, and they'll come up when you don't hit them in the right order and stuff. And it's super dope. And I kind of want to use it in my homebrew now, but it's unfortunately like size constraint. It's built for one very specific mini playfield, so I'd have to do some modifications. But it's a really unique drop target bank. Thank you to my friend Mark Coward for gifting it to me.
Did you hear about the Sword of Fury like recode?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because Swords of Fury is like the boringest game.
It's the same person who made the Mass Effect homebrew.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Because that was up for a Twippy, I think, last year or the year before.
The Mass Effect game's fun. I've played that once.
Oh, not too bad.
Should have thrown a brick at them. No. You know what, did I did actually swear like immediately in front of Jack's 2 children, and it made me feel really guilty. And then he said, "Oh, don't worry, I do that all the effing time." And I was like, "Oh, okay, fine." But Yeah, that's the only problem with that drop target bank is it does require 5 coil drives to work. So regular drop target banks only have 1 coil. Yes, most of them do only have 1 coil to reset all of the drop targets. What about your giant bell? Where did that go? Is that the one that I bought at Texas last year when we went to the swap meet and bought all of those Williams stepper units? I think that's in the my storage place that is connected to work. I still want to make like a pinball musical instrument using like bells and chimes and stuff like that. And
you play it as a...
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that might be fun. Anyways, I'm sorry, is this like turned really boring now because it's totally off track? Probably. But I appreciate you guys for all sticking around. Well, that ends Kyle's Pinball Oddities tour for now, I suppose. I've got a lot more, but that room is sure is something. It is kind of a mess. So, this is super fun. Oh, you're lying now. This is not super fun. This can only be just slightly fun. Come on. Need to go beyond 3 chimes. Yeah, maybe we'll go 6. How many snick shots can you get in 2 minutes? Should we get a prediction up? 0. I am not that good at pinball right now. I haven't played pinball in a while. I played this game for one game last night when I set it up. I was so blown away. That game's been sitting in this room for like 2 years. And I set it up last night so my room didn't look like a hoarder's den. And I plugged it all in and it just immediately worked. It needed 0. I love, yeah.
I think we had it on the floor for like 4 months maybe. Yeah,
Oh yeah, this was at the arcade.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was at the arcade for a little while. So maybe it hasn't been 2 years, but it does feel good to have a game just get up and work. So, yeah, that's cool. Look at this old stapler. That's pretty dope, huh? I don't know why that's in the living room, but it is. Vintage swing line, you know, probably like vintage 1980s, huh? Super old. We could
bidding at $1.
Yeah, we could do a really boring stream of me going through my records. Oh, here's a plaster mold of my wife's teeth. Check this out. Look how cool these are. That's some fine chompers, huh? Isn't that rad? Do you guys have a plaster mold of your own teeth?
I do.
Probably. Oh, damn.
Oh, only because I also had a night guard made.
Probably not.
Everyone should. Dental health is very important.
It definitely is. Raid a glockenspiel? Yeah, wait. Is there someone? Wait, what?
No, I think he's talking about for more chimes.
Oh, I'd love to make a playable glockenspiel. That's cool. Stapler technology has changed.
I bet she's gonna laugh.
Probably.
Oh,
Oh,
hey.
there he is. Here, actually, let's see if I can get my wife to come on the camera really quick.
Okay.
Eska. Okay, it's fine. You don't have to. What? She just said no. So, she will not come on the camera. Oh, check this out. Look at this. Laserdisc copy of Dune. Everyone's favorite Kyle MacLachlan movie, right? Damn. I think Eska was going to throw this away at one point, and I was like, Maybe not. Maybe that was something else.
Equally as valuable.
This is more valuable than anything we have in this room currently. Well,
All right.
that was pretty focused for a while, and then after an hour and 45 minutes, it became quite unfocused.
It's about par.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'm only supposed to be focused for an hour and a half, right? So yeah, hopefully anyone who's stuck around this long has learned something about the durability of Stern Pinball's fine pinball machines, and hopefully the fact of maintaining your games really goes a long way. And you can have a game that has earned you money, paid itself off, made people happy, and then bring it home and continue enjoying it in almost the same condition as when you put it in the arcade. So.
Is this how we do it? Flash hour.
Yeah, in just a second. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Great soundtrack by Toto. Yeah, absolutely. Took a stapler from an old job. Good job. A red stapler. Oh man, that's great. Yeah, Laserdisc is really high quality, huh? It is a high resolution. Is it 720? Actually, here, I have one more funny disc to show you. This is something I need to research more. And then we got to end because Josh has to go. I'm in the process of organizing all my records. And I have this. Oh, this is a good one. Andy Summers and Robert Fripp. That's a really good record. Look at this weird thing. I think I've told everyone that like my dream theme for a pinball game is Blade Runner, right? One of my favorite movies. But I have this soundtrack on vinyl, but this is like the most bizarre, weird, like cut rate pressing of this record ever. It's very bizarre. It sounds terrible. I think it's like some weird Brazilian pressing, but I need to do a little more research on it and find it in Discogs and see if it's actually worth anything, because it is a bootleg. And sometimes bootlegs are worth more than the actual original pressings. So, I don't know. You want the Summers and Fripp record? Yes, MPT3K, we're definitely gonna go. Oh, 720-480 max. It's twice the resolution of VHS, but still standard definition. Interesting. I have a bunch of Laserdiscs, I'm sure, at my mom's house still. Let me find that, let me get that Summers and Fripp record. It's one of my favorites. It's very powerful. Yeah, Bewitched. Do you have this one? Have you listened to this one before? Eternal Grimmy? This one's one of my favorites. It's I went through a phase like most people do when they're in college and they get really into weird ambient shit, and this was one of my favorite records from that time. So,
Might go record shopping then. Someone's comparing your collection.
yeah. Well, it's the problem. Mike Vinokur has like 5 times. I probably have like 600 or 700 records. Vinokur has thousands and thousands of records. It's incredible. But yeah, we go record shopping a lot. We're going to go to Chicago next week, and my wife and I will probably spend a lot of money on records. So yeah, listen to this one, Bewitched. This one's great. See if you can find it streaming or a good quality copy of it. I don't know where I got this. It's a good record though. Are you sure you don't want to come on camera, Eska? Okay. All right, well, we're going to go raid Manu. So everyone on Twitch, please go give Manu some love. He rules, and he deserves some love from you guys. Maybe a Twippy winner, along with Andy, and hopefully not me. But hopefully them, because they definitely deserve it. Everyone on Facebook and YouTube, thank you for joining us. And if you didn't catch the whole thing, this will be archived on YouTube. So you can go and check before the stream got derailed, talking about cats and bricks and records and Laserdiscs. Otherwise, thank you. See ya. We're going to raid. Thank you. Thank you. Everyone's so nice and happy. Yes, Tracy, I'll see you in Texas. I think you need to downscale the chat. We'll see you later, Facebook and YouTube. Bye. Now you can hit stop streaming.